variables on both sides of the equation. This is going to be the most complicated thing that you would probably have to look at as far as algebra on the GED test. So let me describe what's happening. Do you notice that when you look at this first math problem, you have 2x on the left side of the equal sign, and you have 4x on the right side of the equal sign? Well, in order to solve this math problem, these x's have to end up on the one side of the equal sign. I can't have in my end math problem where I show x equals x. That doesn't make any sense. So what I want to do is I have to move something. Now, a lot of times students will ask me different questions. They'll say, Baron, does it matter if the x's end up on the right side of the equal sign? And I'll say no. So does it matter if they end up on the left side? I'll say no. But what I do so is I kind of, because this is new to most students and they're just getting to learn how to do algebra, I'll make a little rule for them. And I'll say, look, let's just make a rule. And the rule states this. If you have variables on both sides of the equal signs, you're going to want to make sure they end up on the left side. I just make a little rule like that so that students don't have to decide and they don't sit there too long trying to figure out, am I right, am I wrong? I'm just going to tell them, look, let's make a rule. Everything, all x's or all variables move to the left. That's it. There's no discussion, and it keeps it pretty simple. So if that's true, then let's go ahead and make that happen now. Now, let me show you what's going on here. So we have 2x equals positive 4x plus 6. Now, you'll notice I said positive because it is a positive 4 times x plus 4 times x. Because if it was negative, they would show that to you. If you see anything that's negative, for instance, that, they will show it to you. So you notice that the negative 4 is showing first. Well, this is showing first on the right side of the equal sign. So if this one has a negative symbol in front of it, that means it's the kind of a minus if you want to understand that. Then this would be a plus. So when students ask, well, how do I move it? I say, well, look, what is going on the right side with the 4x? And you say, well, isn't that plus 4x? And I'm going to say, yes, that's right. That's plus 4x. So what's the opposite of adding 4x on the right? Hopefully you would say subtracting 4x on the left. And I'm going to say yes. So I want to rewrite my math. You have to do algebra in order to move this to the other side. You can't just move it. So I don't want to see this show up because that's not how you do that. You can't take a positive 4x or a plus 4x and just show plus 4x on the other side. No, it has to reverse operators. That's algebra. That's how algebra works. So I want to do the opposite of adding 4x to the other side. So I want to write 2x minus 4x. You see that? Equals 6. So you want to make sure that whatever this is here, I'm sorry, here, let me get rid of that. Let's highlight it a little bit, like that. That's a plus 4x. And I write minus 4x. Okay? Again, anytime you're moving from one side of the equal sign, you're not changing signs. You're changing operators. Okay? So negative 2x, take a 4x, is going to leave me a negative 2x equals 6. You see that? Now I have combined. Now I'm ready to complete this. So the opposite of multiplying x times negative 2, divide the other side by negative 2. See? So 6 take negative 2 is a negative 3. This is one of the reasons that we talked about keeping your variable on the same side of the equal sign. For instance, when we were doing one step and we saw something that looked like x plus 4 equals 10. And I said, you don't want to get into the habit of flipping that where the x is and now writing it like this, or even trying to confuse people. I'm like, what is going on? There's too much movement. It's very confusing. And plus now you're going to see, well, what happens when there's x's on both sides? This flipping is going to cause more confusion. So if you've been doing that, you need to stop. It's going to cause more and more problems for you. Let's try another. Let's look at this bad boy right here. Okay, remember, what's your rule? The rule is if there's variables on both sides of the equal sign, the rule says we're going to move them to the left. And we want to do that right now. We want to do that first. Okay, let's just move this plus 6x to the other side, and then we can worry about the other things. Let's do it first. Now, watch how I write this. You notice that you have plus 6x. What's the opposite of plus 6x? Minus 6x. So I want to write minus 6x on the other side. So here we go. Watch. 74 minus 5x minus 6x equals 78. Do you notice I put minus 6x behind what was there? That's what you want to do. Remember, if something moves, it goes behind what was already there. I don't know if you've noticed that. That's what's going on. So look, let's go ahead and combine like terms. Minus 6x, I'm sorry, minus 5x and minus 6x, that's minus 11x. So we're going to have 74 minus 11x equals 78. You see that? Now, watch this next idea, okay? I want to move this 74 to the other side. But how do I do that? Well, again, do you remember what we said about this up here, where I said, hey, isn't that plus 6x or adding 6x? The same thing applies to this 74. I would say, is that a plus 74? Hopefully you say, yes, that's a positive 74, plus 74. So what's the opposite? Minus 74. That's what you're going to write on the opposite side. The opposite of adding 74 is to subtract 74 from the other side. Now, be careful. Look, that is a negative 11x or a minus 11x right now. So you have to write that. Don't lose it. So negative 11x equals 78 minus 74. See that? A lot of steps. A lot of things are moving around. So let's continue. 78 takes 74, leaves 4. So I'm going to write negative 11x equals 4. Okay, now we're almost finished. The opposite of multiplying, let me get rid of that too, because I don't want to cause too much confusion. The opposite of multiplying by negative 11 is to divide the other side by negative 11. So x equals 4 divided by negative 11. And we're going to want to type that in the calculator. 4. I'm just going to go ahead and write 4 divided by 11. I know it's going to be negative 0.36. Oh, it's a fun number. So 0.36 repeating. X equals negative 0.36 repeating.